think it's being willing to stand up for people who might be targeted by racism, who are targeted by racism. It means white people being willing to feel uncomfortable, to put themselves forward, to defend and protect, to some extent, their friends and colleagues, but not in a white savior kind of way, but in a way that understands that being anti-racist makes the world better for all of us. I think a lot of people think that anti-racism is for black and brown people only, and it's not. It's for all of us to make it a better world. I came to England in 1984, and in Ireland, discrimination was prevalent against travellers, travelling people, itinerants, whatever word people use to call them these days. So I had some concept of what discrimination looked like, but when I came to England, to Birmingham particularly, first of all I realised I was Irish, because I'd never had to think about that before, because I was living in Ireland and everybody was Irish. And then I started to realise that in spite of my education and my middle-class upbringing and my middle-class family, I wasn't immune from being discriminated against. And to many people in Birmingham, Irish people were all the same. You know, ignorant, uncouth, uncultured, couldn't speak properly, uneducated. And I remember particularly, and this was from another second generation Irish person, someone saying to me in a professional environment where we were both, you know, employed by this private sector company, you know, if you wanted to earn more money, because I was complaining that I wasn't getting paid enough, if you wanted to earn more money, you should have gone to university. I had been to university, I did a primary degree, I did a postgraduate degree, but education didn't protect me against discrimination. And I think because I was experiencing these kind of feelings, I was getting involved in union activity and in C&D, for example. And so I was meeting a lot of other people who were working to change the world, and a lot of those people were black and brown people who, you know, had a vested interest, like I did, in making the world less of a racist, discriminatory place, so we could all have better lives. I don't know that if you want me to talk more about the Irish community, but certainly the fact that the Birmingham St. Patrick's Day parade was taken off the streets initially for a year. It was only meant to be 1 year. When the pub bombings happened in 1974, the then committee for the parade thought that it would be provocative and maybe, you know, make people feel even more anti-Irish than they already were, to have the parade the following year in 75. So they decided to cancel it for a year. And after that, they obviously didn't feel it was going to be safe still, because there was a lot of discrimination still, and Irish people were attacked. And, you know, especially after the pub bombings in 74, you know, I'm still hearing stories of Irish people whose homes were attacked, who were dragged out into the streets by their neighbours, who were kind of refused service in shops. They were you know, tormented and by their people at work. I'm sure, I think at Longbridge there were nooses hung over you know, assembly lines. So, you know, there was very present active danger towards Irish people. And so when I worked with a group of people to get the parade restarted, but it took until 1996 for us to be able to have the parade back on the streets again. Although I want to say people like Martin Luther King and Marcus Garvey and people like that, really for me it's people who I know locally, Siobhan Harper-Nunes, for example, people who, Cheryl Garvey, Dipali Chandra, Kate Gordon, people who are active in their communities and who make a difference to people's lives every day. The Chinese community, to funders, to women. I mean, Mary Robinson is a hero of mine, and she's a white woman, and she's taken steps in the world to make a difference.
Beyond racism, racism and beyond, anti-racism has to be the norm. Let's build a city where everyone belongs. Beyond racism, racism and beyond, anti-racism has to be the norm. A world of understanding, that's what we crave. From every corner, every land, a tapestry woven by every hand. Harmonious call, we rise and stand.